I'm not, I'm not hoping or planning to guide you in your project. Okay, what I'm hoping to do is basically show what I think is possible and what I know is possible, and then if you have any ideas, you can either use these ideas or not. It's up to you. But if you start on a different path, you're welcome to do it, absolutely, and you can borrow ideas from us where possible. But I don't think you would be able to get help from either of us if you're working on a branch that is unrelated. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
I think I'll use like JavaScript or maybe TypeScript just because I don't agree.
I don't know. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to tell us what you're doing, basically, because I think the way that I think, Linda, you can confirm and correct me if I'm wrong. So the way I think we'll do it is basically, we had this idea when I was doing this 2A class, and it was a 2A lecture that was recorded and I pointed you at, and it was basically a pet, and it eats 5 different things and different things, but except it's
the lecture.
I'm sorry?
Remember the lecture.
You remember the lecture?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm talking about. I'm talking to Linda because Linda is in my 2B class.
Okay. Yeah, I've checked out the video, so I have the context.
Oh, you have the context. Great. Okay.
Yes.
So that's what we're planning to do, and I don't know if it'll work, but I have a really strong gut feeling that it could be fun, not just to future 2A students and 2B students, but generally for people who want to get some kind of an intuition about how sorting works and how you can inject various kinds of cleverness or domain knowledge into sorting. So that's what I'm thinking of. So basically, here's what my plan is, and you can tell me if this doesn't work, and we can change direction along the way. So I'm thinking first, let's not think about the application at all. I mean, code or anything. I just want to go over what we had in 2A come up with a rudimentary kind of interface, a UI. Basically, I'll pick up my iPad and draw the screen, a web screen, basically, and basically draw little circles or rectangles that say, this is what we envision these things, and so on. And we can refine this. And once we have the look nailed down, then we can start, which I think could happen in less than a half hour, right? Then we can start thinking about putting together a very, very basic web app, which doesn't do this game. It basically just, you develop, you start the game and maybe it just says hello. That's all, right? And then we'll get that going. And then we'll slowly start replacing bits of it, just native JavaScript. I know there's a whole bunch of frameworks out there like React and Angular and so on. Maybe we'll use jQuery, okay? More and more jQuery, I think, is being integrated into native JavaScript. And so you can figure out where the native integrations are, and then you can do them yourself. But we're not going to go into those details. And so, I might say, well, it'll be nice if you fade this out, and then you can work out the logic for it. So you can either do it with CSS or jQuery or native JavaScript. It's up to you. But there's a ton of ways. And I will increasingly play the part of a player. Not a player in your game. We're not talking about. I'm not going to be one of the tournament contestants, but I'm going to be one of those kids who's going to go to your website and say, well, I'm going to try and play this tournament today. So I'll more and more, I'll try and get into that mode and play your game, and I'll, as and when I have time, honestly. But I think I will have time for these things. Hopefully every day, at least once, I'll hit website, maybe give some suggestions, and then we can have, future meetings like this ad hoc. We can play it by year. Maybe we don't need any meetings anymore. And we'll see how it goes. How's that? Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds good by me.
Sure. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to set it, as I just realized I have very little knowledge of Elm, so I'm just trying to install TypeScript language support for Vim.
All right, don't worry. Hey, Daniel, I think your volume is still, this time I'm on my Mac. I'm on my, notebook, MacBook.
Can you hear me now?
And my volume is maxed out. And so I can say with a great deal of confidence that you are low volume now. Not like super duper low, I can hear you, but not as crisp as Linda, for example.
Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me
I'm
better?
using my headset.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, much better, much better.
Okay. Yeah. I moved
All right,
the other
great.
way and I-
So anyway, so that's what I was thinking. So let's get started if you guys are okay. I'll get my iPad. I thought it was here. It's over there. Yeah, it's over there. So I'll get my iPad, and what I'll do is I'll join this meeting from the iPad. So there'll be two of me's, and one of them will be this, frame, and the other one will be my iPad screen, and we can pretend that's our whiteboard, and that's our, web screen, and then we can chalk out bits of it and say this is where we want this to be, and so on and so forth, right? And then we have when it's there, and of course the whole thing is being recorded, right? I can post it on YouTube if you want, but obviously at least that screenshot, then you can take that and then to use that as a starting point. When you start putting the app together, basically you want to put a shell without any logic, just CSS, really, native JavaScript, CSS, no, not even JavaScript, just CSS and HTML, right? So just to get all the pieces in place, and then you can use a JavaScript in the background, backend, to wire all these things together. And that's what all these frameworks are for. But we'll just do it with native.js for now, right? Because I don't foresee a great deal of logic here, because I think we wrote it in less than an hour, right? I forget, but I don't think it. Daniel maybe can confirm this. Yeah, it wasn't 2 lectures. It was just 1 lecture, right?
Yeah, that was 1 lecture.
Yeah, it was just 1 lecture. So I think we should be able to get it all done very quickly. And then and I like this because this is a project where you can get the logic and all these things out of the way really quickly, and then you can spend a great deal of time doing what is really fun about a project, right? Getting the logic right is fun too, but I think in all the things that I've done in the past, getting the logic and the wiring right is a great deal of fun. But 10 times more fun is basically just playing around with the look and feel, right? Adding bells and whistles and saying it's almost like throwing out different kinds of jewels, right? And saying, oh, this looks more beautiful, that looks more beautiful. So it's almost like that. And I think this is a project which will lend itself to that kind of opportunity for you. So you can get the logic out of the way, and you spend a lot of time saying, oh, well, I'm going to style this game like it's an Avatar game. Or maybe you can even make style a drop down. So you play this game in Avatar mode, and all your contestants are Aang and Toph and people like that. And then you can switch to baseball players, and then you get baseball. So you can have choosable skin. We won't go down that road, but that's all possible for you, right? So you can knock yourself out. So the possibilities are endless, and who knows? If it's really cool, people could start playing this game for real. Not with 5. 5 it's easy to work it out. Maybe you have a game with 50 contestants. No, not 50. And log 50 is huge, right? So you want to look at, even if they were optimal in switching things together, on average they will be like quick sort, so n log n. So you're looking at approximately 10 log 10 maybe. No. Yeah, 10 log 10. So I think 10 players. You should be able to get it off the order of hundreds of comparisons, right? That is if you're very clever and make quick sort like matches. And so yeah, maybe 10 is too much. You can experiment and find out. Or you can have a dial, right? Difficulty level, and say 5, then you get whatever. It's up to you. All right, so let me get my iPad and then we'll get going. Okay? Is that all right? Do you have any questions, guys?
I'm good now.
Okay, great. Oh, by the way, Sibe won. She was in my 2A class and then didn't do my 2B. Well, maybe she, and then came back to my 2C. And she's the other one who's kind of switching places with you on that Curious request. So yeah. So she wanted to participate in this thing too, but she's traveling this week. So she asked for this to be recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just post it on YouTube and say, hey, Sibe, you can look at this link. All right, let me get my iPad and then we'll get rolling. Okay. Okay. All right, so this must be, this is hopefully a whole lot better. It's actually, that's funny because my oh, you know what? I think I know. I think I know the reason. I think it's because I bet that if I just sent zoom to the background, my face will just light up all of a sudden, right? Hang on. Did it? Did it? Did it?
It's brighter. It was the reflection
Yeah.
of the dark
Okay.
screen.
Okay, so it's just Linda's background, which is showing up as all black for me, all black for me. So if you switch to a really bright background, even if it's a white screen, I think that will send enough light my way. So previously, when you had all that white, the light on my face, it was from a blank Chrome window or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Oh yeah, my iPad. That's what I was going for. Okay, I got it. I got to join this meeting. Okay, all right, no audio on here. And this is my, all right, so I share, not screen, share whiteboard. Okay, all right, can you see my whiteboard?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. There. Okay, so you can, the basic pieces is what I'm thinking about. And then, by the way, I haven't completely worked out this entire game in my head, so I don't know if it's even going to work. So you guys will have to correct me, okay? So tell me if it. So let's assume that, well, let's say we start with we'll go with let's call them player one to player 5. Too much right. Player 1 to player 5. So there's some box here, and then we have icons for P1 ... P5. All right, so you have icons, maybe, of face shots or something like that, and then maybe some kind of area here for the tournament. That's where the match is supposed to take place, and then all the user has to do really is drag one of these guys here, and then a blank here will be filled in by that person, okay, and drag the other person, maybe P2, right? And this is also filled in, and when they're both filled in, I don't know, play some applause, or you can play with the audio visuals, but when they're both filled in, what would happen is that there's a face-off. This is a face-off square, right? Face-off. Here, Biff and Bam and Thump and all those sounds, and then after the smoke disappears, these people will retire back to here, but when they go back, they'll go back in the right order. Well, not in the right order. Yeah, basically in the right order, right? So the winner goes to the left and the loser go to the right, or goes to the right, or something like that, right? So the idea is that by cleverly picking pairs here, you can end up at the secret random ordering faster than other people, right? If you keep picking useless pairs, make redundant comparisons, or so you may end up making more. So I think, so you have to have a scoreboard, I guess. I think the fewer matches you play. So maybe I'm thinking all this is open to correction. Maybe you should, in fact, maybe it's not even matches and games, right? So this is the overall logic. So you can reskin it however you want. So I'm thinking if it's a match, then maybe you are the manager of the team, and then you get given let's say $1 million. Or $10 million or $1 billion, whatever it is, right? So that's your credit, and then but you only get it if you successfully order the 5 people in your team. Yeah, okay. All right, so you are given P1 to P5 and asked to so yeah, let's say no, each match is an encumbrance, right? So each match, every match you organize has a cost associated with it, so you have to factor that into your equation somehow, right? So I win the game if I can determine the right player rankings with the least amount of matches. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I guess, so you could say I'm the top coach, or I don't, yeah, I say here's where I guess it helps to be interested in these sports kinds of things. I don't know what they call them, tournament managers or yeah, whatever, right? So the head honcho in the game business. So so you want to say, yeah, fewest number of games, and then and you determine the right rankings, then you have the mindset for let's say, the being a good coach or something like that. I don't know. All right. So anyway, does that make sense? So I'm thinking. So you have a scoreboard which is updated every time you win. Every time you win, that is how much you take home, I guess. Every time you lose, some money is lost. So yeah, basically you have to pay to hold each game, right? Because you have to rent the tournament, you rent all these things, right? So every time you organize a match, it's going to cost you. So that's going to come out of your bank here. Okay, that's your dollar. And so you start, and every time, somehow, I don't know, you can maintain a leaderboard here. I'll show you how to do all of these, right? I'll show you how to do all of these. I can show you how to do the leaderboard in Amazon with DynamoDB if necessary, right? Things like that. Oh, like that. It's that's all quite easy. But the main idea is really just getting the hang of, this thing. So if you think this will work, I'm thinking it shouldn't take a great deal of time to put together. So if this kind of works in your mind, right? So that's right. In your mind, you may have a certain vision of how your game would look. Now, if it kind of, so having seen this interface, do you think that there's important parts of what we talked about here that you can borrow to embellish the vision in your own mind, right? So that means then whatever it is that you want to build, I may be able to guide you, right? I may be able to guide you, get it done within, it depends. I'm thinking a couple of days, but I don't know how busy you are. So maybe you'll want to split it up into several days, even a couple of weeks. Up to you. Honestly, I don't care, right? So however fast you want to do it. So, but basically the way I'm thinking we'll do it is, if you're okay with it, the first thing we'll do is basically create a web page, right? Non-interactive web page, and then put some elements on it, right? And maybe I'll show you how to use jQuery, a couple of functions in jQuery that we can use, right? So I haven't managed to figure out as elegant native JS ways of doing that yet. Okay, so jQuery is there. So I'll show you a couple of calls that we can use there. And slowly we'll start building some logic in, but mostly we'll work on HTML and CSS initially just to get the look and feel. That'll probably take a day, and maybe you can take a couple of days, even take some time off just to play with the UI, come up with some really nice. Oh, and by the way, also, right, if you need any media for this, I can show you how to do it. You already know how to use GIMP, right? So I can show you how to use GIMP, transparencies, and all those things, and make some nice flash things, and maybe animated GIFs if you want. Download audio, use Audacity to stitch things together, like up losses, BIFs and BAMs, all those things, right? And I can show you how to trigger them on JavaScript events so that it'll make it look like a real game. And finally, when you've got it all working on your machine, I can show you how you can just zip it up into a zip file. And because this is now, you don't need a server, right? You don't need a server. Once you have this, everything is going to happen on the client side in JavaScript. So that's the beauty of it, right? It's a static web application. It's you don't have to have anything running. You don't have to have a server running. So once you have your static files all set up, you can just take a zip file, and I'll show you how to create an S3 bucket and host it there. And then you have a URL that you can point anyone at, and you don't have to pay for a server that's running all the time. You pay probably a cent or two per year, depending on for hosting it, right? And even data out costs are very low. It's a media. You're not even streaming movies, right? It's just GIFs and PNGs and JPEGs. So yeah, you can make it as cheap as you want, really, right? So I can show you how to do all that. It's very straightforward and easy these days, how to do these things. So if you're okay, what we can do is what I usually do in my two-way class, Linda. So you can share a screen, share a screen, and then start an editor, and then I'll just walk you through some of the code. Right.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Walk you through some of the code, and then you can take off. Anytime you feel comfortable and you say, "All right, well, want to call it quits now," and you want to go and experiment on your own, you can just take off, and you guys can experiment. And then when you or Daniel want to get back together, just let me know, and then we'll schedule another call. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Just start like a HTML file.
Yeah. Hang on. I need to unshare. I can't see your screen. Well, I need to. What do I need to do? Do I need to show stop share here? All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Now I can see. I can see your screen. All right. Just open up any old editor. I created a directory. So you're on Windows, right? You're on Windows, are you?
Yes, I'm on Windows.
Okay. All right. Just make a directory called I don't know, whatever project you want to call it. It's fine. Yeah, you'll notice we're not using VS Code or anything, which is, this is command line for now. And you can do this later. And just go to a command line, run command.
All right. Oh, okay. Sorry, let me switch which application I'm sharing.
Sure, no worries. Take your time.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Great. Okay.
Zoom flickers back and forth when I first start sharing, so I'm sorry about that.
So you're in this folder called web page. All right. So let's create a file called index.html and just put some stuff in it, and then open it up and make sure we actually can see that stuff in a web browser. That's all. In Chrome. Chrome would be nice because we can debug it if later.
Okay.
Just edit a file, create a file called index.html.
Does the cat command work in?
No, path. No, it's just right here. You can say, do you have an editor? What editor is this?
I have Visual Studio Code as my ID, but.
Okay. All right. So just go ahead and have you created an HTML file before by hand? Linda? Hey, Linda, are you there? I think you got on mute or something.
I think it's just blagging out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're frozen, Linda. I can't.
Unfortunately, my text editor is currently going kaput. I'm trying to get it to actually work. We have JavaScript editing support, so I can just have error linting and that stuff working. Syntax.
Well, let's wait a bit for Linda. I don't want her to be surprised. Here.
Okay. Hi.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, hi.
It literally just crashed because of, I don't know, some Zoom thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Can you share your screen again? Open up an editor.
Ah, all right.
Great. Open up.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just use Notepad? Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine. I can't. Yeah. Wow. Your font is so small.
Okay.
No, it's okay. As long as you can see it, that's fine. All
Okay.
right. No, Notepad is fine. So yeah, have you created an HTML file by hand before?
I have not.
All right. No worries. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. So every HTML, here's your basic body. You can figure out all the details, right? Type in angle bracket HTML. That's the opening tag. Wow, this font is so big compared to the last font. All right,
Okay.
yeah, this is good. This is good. All right.
Is this good? Okay.
Yeah, a couple of enters. Yeah. All right, so there you go. All right, so everything is going to go in there. Is sticking a body tag there too. Body element. Yeah, body. Right. Everything inside of that we can indent by one space. Everything we create inside of that, we can create indent by one. All right. Yeah, that's fine too. Great. So inside of body, just stick in a hello world and then open it up in a browser. Let's make sure we see it.
Okay. Okay.
Save it.
Yes.
Save it and then do a directory dir there. Oh, can you do Chrome? Just like is Chrome in your path?
Let's see. Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so what you want to do?
New Edge is Chromium. I wonder if Edge is on the path. That should work better. It's built on Chromium these days, so it should still work.
No.
Oh, I probably on the.
Oh yeah. So yeah, but Daniel, you're not a Windows person, are you? You
I'm
have
on
a
Linux, but I always use Firefox.
All right, but just open it up. Yeah, go to your Explorer and then open up. There you go. Just double click that. Double click index.html. Okay, there it is. Now go back to your editor. So it works, right?
Are we just? Yeah. Can I use Visual Studio Code, or is there a reason you want to just use?
You can use whatever you want. So but basically, that's this is our starting point. And then here inside of this folder here, let's say let's put hello world inside of a div tag, right? This is hello world. Yeah, put it inside of a div tag, div. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right, great, right? And then refresh your browser. It should look exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to the editor again. Now, give the div tag a name, right? So say ID. So div space ID equals call it something, right? Main or something. ID equals main.
Quotes or no?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, people use quotes. That's yeah, it's a nice way of. It reads better with quotes many times. Okay, do you have a space after main? I don't see a space because your font is too small here now.
Oh, okay. Gosh. Okay.
Yeah, Control plus a couple of times, maybe we'll get it. One more Control plus. Okay, there you go. Hey, that's great. Is there a space after? Why do I see this angle bracket after main? Oh, there is. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
ID equals main. That's great. Okay. All right. So now I want to, at this point, what we can do is a couple of things. Let's now style. So style this using a style sheet. We'll start with a style sheet, right? Because these are things that will start growing eventually. So we want to include a style sheet, a new file, create a new file called, what did you call it? Index.html, right? So you can call it index.css. Just call it index.css, just to make sure that everything is grouped together by first name. So is this a file called index.css?
Oh, okay, go. Okay.
Is a file in the same directory called index.css, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we want the syntax for okay, all right, so in your file, where's the file? Index.css, okay. So edit the file. Here, let's say we want to style this ID. This what name did we call it? We call it main, right? We call it main. So So we want to style an element whose name is main with a particular property. So this is how you do it in CSS, right? Out here on the line 1, you say hash mark, pound sign, main, right? Space, and then open brace. Yeah, no, is that a square bracket or a brace?
Oh, okay.
All right, okay. Because the font and the light and everything is playing with my eyes. All right.
Okay. Me.
All right, so great, thank you very much. All right, take the closing brace to the next line, and then we can fill in between the two. All right, so here you say font weight, font hyphen weight, weight, colon bold. All right, next line, say color, make it, I don't know, pick a color. Yeah, whatever you want. Pick the color you want.
Oh, and white.
Oh, it's VS Code, is it? VS Code lets you edit CSS in a clever way. Oh.
Yeah, they have the intelligent.
Nice. Okay. I've never used VS Code to edit CSS, right? Is I use Emacs all the time. Like I think maybe Daniel too, but maybe Daniel has some plugin. This is really cool. This is really cool that as you everything is like checked like an IDE. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so you set the color, font weight. What else can we do? We can. Oh, we have more scope for playing. Oh yeah, it says size, font dash size, and we'll just set it in pixels. Let's say 24px. 24px, and also set a font family. So yeah, give it three of these, one after another. It'll try the first. If it doesn't work, it'll try the second. If it doesn't work, it'll try the third.
Okay.
Or or one or two. Well, just one. Whatever you want.
Just one?
Yeah, just one. Up to you. Yeah, just one, because you can play with all these later. All right. And in fact, at one point, I'll show you how you can link to public domain fonts on Google. And then Google fonts, there are many very, very nice fonts. In fact, if you, on the questing site, at the top, you notice how I got some very thin lines for the font, where it says, quest your code.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very nice, beautiful font, and I know that browsers come with Helvetica Neue, which Apple also uses now, which looks very nice. But I actually like that very much. And so go on Google Fonts, you may find something that matches the sentiment of your game perfectly, right? So if you play baseball players, you can get a baseball kind of font and all those things. Everything is public and it's free. People have put in a lot of work into these things. Okay, all right. So we have these three. Yeah. And those are to do with a font. Let's also say text align center, text hyphen align center. And then let's say border, and say, let's say it's 1px thick, and make it a solid border that is, I don't know, pick a color, space, yeah, and then one solid, yeah, solid. Give it a color, I don't know, some color you want. Okay. All right, so you have a border, and also let's give a width to the div. All right, so let's say on the next line, width, let's say is I don't know, 800px, 800 pixels, and then let's say the margin is automatic. What automatic means is that calculate the left and right, and then divide by 2. And automatically center it. That's basically what it means, margin auto, right? Otherwise, you can also say, explicitly say margin left is 10px, which looks so good. All right, now if you go back to your browser, save this file, go back to your browser and reload the page, you should see all of these effects right there in your browser. Reload.
Oh yeah, let me make sure that this is saved too. Oh, weird.
Oh, so we didn't include the CSS file. We created the CSS file, but we didn't include it in HTML. Yeah. Okay. So we need that one line. So do you have a browser? just open a new tab in the browser. Go to the questing site. Go to the question site really quickly. Cheating. This is a nice way I use all the time to pick up. This is basically a template. View source right here. Just view source. All right. I think it's a. What?
Oh. Are you talking about element?
No, that's not it. Right click on the white part. Don't click on the circle. Right click on the white part and say view source. Yeah, view page source. What? Why is it? I can't. It's so. The font is too tiny for me.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Why is everything on one line, which is kind of crazy? It's not broken up into multiple. Oh, maybe it's all minified. Okay. All right. So what you want is no, to the left. To the right. No, to the left. Where it says.
Oh, I'm already all the way to the left.
Yeah, more to the left. Oh, you're all the way to the left? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
To the right. Well, link href, right? Link href, right? So click that. Yeah. Copy that. In fact, copy all the way from jQuery. Let's also pull the jQuery, right? So that element and the next element, and also fonts.google APIs, right? All three. All right. Click again. Copy all three and paste them in your file.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Copy. Yeah.
Okay.
Enter and then say head. So everything should go in the head section, not the body section, right? So create a head section just like the body section. Yeah, enter. Okay, so in there, paste all three of those lines, and then put them on separate lines, one on each line. Yeah. So what I tend to do is keep the CSS ones together. Get rid of the Q code. That's not part of the. We don't need that. That's part of the query.
Okay, so just the top two. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have the fonts, and then we never got the link href. Oh, we got that. Okay. So yeah, just triple click that line, paste it there one more time. So you have two of those. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Triple click the line, paste it there one more time. Okay. The second one, change it to index.css instead of just change one of them to index.css. Right. Great. Now, in your index.css, you also have access to this font called Quicksand. And I believe Quicksand is the name of the font I'm using in the questing site, right? So if you say Quicksand there, you'll get the same font as the questing site. It has to be, I think it has to be capital Q. Capital Q. All right. So you also have that. Great. So, all right. So index.css should be loaded, and then you have JavaScript. You can kill that window. Now load it. All right, there you go. All right. Now, except there was a bug here. Why is the width not working? It should be 800. Oh, it is. It's 800.
It's because I'm zoomed in a lot.
So make that instead of 800, make that like 200, 300 pixels. It should be and also height. Give it a height, right? 300 pixels and give it a height of 300 also. 200 will be. I think it'll wrap around, but we'll see. Right, 200. All right, 200. So it should be like a square now. It should be like a square. All right. Great. Okay. All right. So this is basic tricks in positioning things, and now you know how to do it. Once you figure out in your mind this is what it should look like, you know how to go and look on Google, right? So you know that, I have a div, I need to go in this area. How do I go? You go and type it into Google. You go and look at a couple of Stack Overflow posts and try it out and pick the one that works for you the best. And you know how to do it, right? And if you're stuck, you can always ask me and I'll look for you too. So, or Daniel. So this is how you get a div. Now let's also try one more thing, okay? So go back to your HTML file and put a button there. Put a button in your HTML file. So say div on the next line. Okay, div button ID equals give it a name, fade or something, because we have jQuery. Let's also play with fade, and then give it a button name. Give it whatever goes on the button on screen, right? Fade. Okay, call it fade. Button. All right. Now let's go back to your save it. Go back to your browser. And let's make sure the button shows.
Okay.
All right. Well, why is it not showing inside of the div? Put it inside the div. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah, I think it's outside the div. Right, take that, yeah, slash tag, yeah. All right, so now you should have a button inside of the div, and it should also be centered, I think, because you have text. Oh, it's not on the next line. So after hello world, say, insert a BR or a P or, BR, so BR, slash, forward slash, and then, forward slash, and then, oh, is that how you do it? You have an opening and a closing tag for that?
I don't know. I was just assuming because everything.
Yeah, all right, let's try that. Okay, all right, try that. Let's make sure.
Like
No,
this?
no, the way you had it first was better. Yeah. All right, okay, great. So now we have components in place. Now what we want to do is when we hit the fade button, we want the word hello world to fade away, right? So there's a couple of ways in which we can do this. One is we can basically just call a jQuery function, right? Which is a standard jQuery function, which is really, really easy to do. And we'll do that first, all right? We'll do that first. When you click that, hello world fades away, right? And the other way is to basically give two styles to it, right? One in your file, where you define the style for main, we can define two more styles, right? We can define a class, right? Go back to your index.css. Index.css, all right. So create a class, and the way you create a class in CSS is to say dot, and then call it, I don't know, visible, dot visible, right? And then but in the body of the visible class,
Do I need the brackets or?
Yeah, brackets, yeah. Say visible, say opacity colon 100%, right? Well, 1.0. I don't know whether it's 100% or 1.0. I think it's 1, right? Under 1.0. Yeah, 1.0.
Okay.
And then create another class like that called dot hidden. In fact, you should probably think about it later because I don't know if we need two separate classes for this. It may even just be possible that to do this using one class so that when you apply the class, it's visible. When you don't apply the class, it's automatically non-visible, right? So I think it should be possible, but you can experiment with that later. This is the way we go ahead and okay. Hidden opacity is 0. Okay, all right. Now we also want to transition, and I think say transition 1 second, right? So say transition 1 second on the next line. I don't know. I hope it works. Transition? Yeah, 1 second. 1s. Oh, cubic is here. Oh, I think it has easing techniques in there. But I think 1s should work, right? So also on the visible side, I think. I think you need it for both. Yeah, I think you need it for both. Oh no, maybe you don't need it for. Well, I don't know. Okay. Now. In your HTML file, to your button, for your hello world, so the ID, right? ID equals main space. After that ID, say space, class equals visible, and then it should not change. You should just be able to see it as it was before. And then if you change that to class equals hidden, the other it should not show. Right? So let's make sure that's the case. Just go back to your Chrome. Loaded?
I did. I just refreshed it.
Okay. All right. Now change that to hidden and make sure it goes to hidden. Right? Now, save it and run it. Wow, the whole thing went away? Why did the whole thing went away? Oh, because the button and the div are in there. I see. Okay. All right. Maybe you should just do it on the button, not on the old div. Maybe when you hit the button called fade, yeah, just do it on a button. Okay. All right. Okay. Now so now that we've made sure that the classes actually work, let's actually try and do it with jQuery, right? So now that we've got the jQuery up there, so what we'll do is hang on, link href. Right. Triple click on line number 3 and copy and paste it one more time, just like you did for the CSS line, right? Copy and paste one more line. One more time. Right there. Yeah. Okay, right there. In fact, the last 2 lines are going to be your own files, your own includes, and the first 2 are includes from the Google library. So in fact, if you want, you can have a blank line there. So you just call it index.js. All right. So these two are yours. You're going to write, and above the two others are from Google. All right. So now let's go to index.js, and that file is going to be added. Is going to be loaded as soon as. Okay. So when you do that, when you do VS Code, does it actually open a brand new process of VS Code, or is it a new buffer in the same VS Code process?
I don't know the answer to your question.
No, do you have all three files? Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, so it's actually clever enough to know. So you went to DOS and you said VS Code and a new process, right? And this is a brand new command, but yet it was able to figure out that, you know, Linda wants to edit a file, but she's already got VS Code running. So let me not start a new process. We'll just add this file to the existing process. So it added it. So you got three files in the same process, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. For instance, in Unix or Linux, for example, and if you're using an editor, an old school editor like Emacs or VI, and then you Control Z out of it, you suspend it and go back, and then you edit another file, it opens a brand new process altogether. Not the same file, multiple buffers in the same Emacs. No, it's a new Emacs altogether. Anyway, that's an aside. Okay, so you've got index.html, index.js. Just stick in an alert there. So say alert hello there. Save it and
just
yeah, alert.
okay.
Yeah, alert. No. You need to call it like a function. Yeah,
Okay.
you have to call it like a function.
In
In JavaScript, you can ask. You can either use a single quote or a double quote. It'll just disambiguate it runtime. All right, now load it, save it. Load it and save it and run it, and then you seem to have a reasonable grasp of HTML and these things already. All right. So anyway, so there you go. Okay. So your JavaScript file is being loaded and it says hello, right? So now we can go back to your hello world. So your index.html, change that to your the button class from hidden to visible. So we want to see the hidden, right? Hidden. Now we want to tie a function to this button when it is clicked. So you say on click equals. You just say on click. You just do everything in native JavaScript, right? On click.
Like,
no, just one word. On click equals button clicked, button underscore clicked. You can call it namespace to the button later. Okay, button clicked. And I think you need open close parentheses and semicolon. Open close parentheses there. I think you need open close parentheses. Right now, every time the button is clicked, it's going to call that function button clicked. So let's go to the index file, the JS file, and put the alert inside of that button clicked function. Right. So the way to do it in JavaScript is basically say function space button clicked. Right. Function space button clicked. Right. And then open close parentheses. And inside, just put in the alert for now, just to make sure that every time you click the button, you should get the alert, right? Yeah. Semicolon. Yeah, you don't need a semicolon, but that's fine.
Okay, so run it again?
Yeah. So run it, save it, and run it. All right, so click that. Okay, every time you click that, you should get the alert, right? So click that, you get it. So we know that your function is being called, right? So now let's change the body of the function. Instead of showing up the alert, what we want to do is make the button fade, right? Every time you click the button basically fades, right? So, and we can use Java jQuery to do that very easily. And we can also try, doing the style thing, which is, we've got that too, right? So the way to do it in jQuery, I think maybe Daniel knows jQuery. He can correct us if I'm wrong. So you say $, and dollar is the global object that jQuery has, and I think it's $.fade, $.fade in. No. You know what? Dollar open parentheses, and then I think dollar open, and within quotes you give it the ID of the button that you got. What is the ID of the button?
Okay, let me check.
I think it's called. Fade. Okay, $fade. And then that's the object. Fade. Fade in. Fade. I think uppercase IN. I think IN. No, fade out. open, close, open, close, open, close parentheses. So that's a jQuery function you're calling on all the objects that the selector, so dollar is your global jQuery object. All it does is that it'll search the DOM tree, right? Your HTML tree. Yeah, HTML is a tree, right? It starts at HTML and this is the body, and inside the body you have,
Right.
right? So your dollar basically just searches that tree really efficiently like you did in 2C, and then it returns all the nodes that match the criterion that you've given inside of the parentheses. So in this case, you said, search the tree for everything that has the name fade. Oh, so yeah, it has to be hash fade, right? Because it's a name fade, right? Hash fade, right? So you're saying search the tree for everything that has the name fade and give it to me. And then the dot basically says, now apply that function to all of those objects. That's basically what it says. Now, when you save this and run it, hopefully, if everything works, you click that and there you go, it fades, all right? So now you can, so this is Chrome, right? Hit Control Shift J. I think it's Control Shift J. All right, now hit sources. Yeah, okay, so now you see the source, your source code, and you see the elements. When you see, click elements, click elements, you can see the elements, you can expand them, you can mouse over and you can see exactly which one it is, you can see everything, right? So it has a very, very nice IDE. Chrome is a very nice IDE, except for editing, right? So Chrome is very nice for debugging. I like it. I don't know, I haven't tried played around as much with Safari. Yeah, although my son says, Safari is cooler sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, so there you go. So Chrome, it gives you the opportunity to dive into these bits and pieces. Now, obviously, you can check out the CSS, right? So if you want to say you want more space about hello, less or more on right, so you just go to Google and say how to put vertical space above my div, right? You search and Google will give you like 10 hits. Right? Here's how you do it in CSS. Here's, and ideally try and do as many things as possible in CSS, right? Because CSS in CSS3 especially, everything is taken care of for you, and so we don't have to do it in JS. What else? All right, so so these are the basic elements that we need to get in place. So obviously, if you have any questions, we can dive in more deeply into anything that you or Daniel want to go into right now. But otherwise, what we can do is, if you want, or you or Daniel, right? You can grab the screen and say, here's. We can basically call it a day, right? They say, well, I want to take off now and noodle around this for a bit more time, try and create some mock-ups, play around with a notebook and pencil for now, and see what you want to get done, and maybe just create a dress rehearsal, right? So you have everything there, but it's not wired in yet, right? So you have all the pieces there, it's not just wired in, and then you have the logic. Or you can do the logic first, right? You forget about the look and feel, the eye candy. You can come later. You can say, I'm going to do the logic by saying I'm going to every time I create every time a game is started, I'm going to create 10 players. Right? Or 5 players, or give the user the option to select. Just say hard code it for now. 5, right? 5 players. Just select 5 players and select a random ordering between them, and then you're just going to have very, very simple back and forth between the user, right? Reading what the user says. Oh, we haven't tried that, right? But I'm sure you can experiment and find out, right? So you can create what is called a text field. I think it's called text input area. So in your HTML file, you can basically say you can create another element, right? And say text area. Right, and you can say space. I think it's width. I don't know what the syntax is, right? You can look it up, right? So you can say you can play with it. You can play with it and find out. So that'll give you the text area, but you don't need the text area. You can actually have a div that is editable, right? So div, and then the property for the div is called content editable, right? Content editable equals true, right? And then people can just go and type in a div. But you don't have to. I don't think this game requires anyone to type anything in at all, right? So at the most, you should just be able to respond to mouse movements, right? Because people should just be able to use their fingers on a phone or an iPad and move players around into the ring, right? Boxing match, right? And then there's these contenders, and you say, oh, I want this guy and this guy, right? They can come and face off in the ring, and then they go back in the right positions, right? So there should be no keyboard input, right? Just fingers and mice, and it's very easy to do, right? I think it's easy to You can look up, you can Google for drag and drop images, or you can, in fact, even before, if you don't want to do drag and drop first, you can even do, drop down select players for a start, to begin with, right? You use a drop down. There's a million different ways in which you have to select player A and player B. That's all, right? So you got five players, on the left, on the right. You got to select two of them. That's it, right? And then you have, this is my, you say this is your ordering, and every time a match is finished, something changes, and if that is the right ordering, you say you've won. Something like that. Right, that's basically what I'm saying. I'm thinking. Yeah, basically text area. You can just Google for get text area. You can do that. What else? Yeah, when you've got this ready, I can show you how to take create an AWS bucket, S3 bucket, and put everything there. It's very simple and straightforward. But now that you got a browser, you got everything going, you don't really need AWS at this point. You just do everything locally, and when things are ready to go, then I can show both. Maybe Daniel already knows. Hey Dan, I don't know if you can create an AWS account, but you can ask your mom to create an AWS account, and then you can use that.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, like I know about these services like on GitHub and GitLab, which allow the creation of a static of like a website that doesn't have a backend server that just hosts.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's enough. Except you won't get the issue is that it's fine. You just won't get a personalized URL. You can't have dansgame.com.
I know on the top of my head that GitLab pages supports that, and I know that because I use
fine. Yeah, you just put there. Static pages, really cool. That's great. Maybe that's what we'll all do then, right?
Like I know that GitLab supports custom URLs because that's what I use for my personal blog.
Yeah. Okay, let's do something like that. You don't have to do AWS unless you really want to, play around with AWS.
I don't want to just know how to use AWS. But I know how to use GitLab pages so I probably will just use AWS for the sake of knowing how to set up such a system.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll get to all that in good time. But I'm kind of thinking that this is a really simple exercise, and this should get done in no time at all. Hopefully, even before the big holidays start, and before the end of the year, you might be able to wrap it up. And if you do have people over virtually for the holidays, you can play this game virtually, right? And this is your holiday game, right? You can play that. You have a holiday theme, holiday skin, right? Things like that. And then once you have that ready, you can think about other more meta interesting things, right? Meta interesting things is you have this game, and you can experiment to see what it's like to promote this game on Facebook, right? Promote this game on Facebook or Instagram, right? Doesn't take a lot of money, really, right? For $10, you can get a huge amount of exposure for this game on Instagram, right? $10 of your budget, right? This is nothing, right? Four cups of coffee at Starbucks. So $10, you start create an ad budget on Instagram and throw it in, and you actually track it on the server side.
What are the plans?
All right. So you can have. What was I saying? I forgot.
This is a reminder.
I don't know.
What are the plans?
I forgot what I was saying. But basically that's what it is. You can do all these really cool things.
Yeah, thank you for walking me through it. Real quick, like best practices, people would just typically have 3 separate files. Like, there's no reason why you'd ever split up.
No, honestly, you put them all in the same file. I don't care. Right?
Okay.
Best practices and all of those things only start becoming relevant once your project reaches a certain level of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's easy. It's like I don't want to split it up into 3 different bags until I have 3 bags worth of books to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, take your time. Play with it however you want. Really, it's playtime, right? It's just a playground. So you shouldn't have any rules saying this is how you have to do it. This is how you have. No, right? So this is the first app. This is your Hello World app, really, right? I don't know. Maybe you've done a lot of apps before, but if this is your Hello World app, so you just play with it, right? This is your chance to make a lot of mistakes, right? So you make a lot of mistakes because you're not going to do anything. You can't burn your Chrome. You're not going to overdrive your Chrome, right? So you can't do anything. So you can just do whatever you want. And then if it doesn't work, you just go to Control-Shift-J, and then Chrome's console will actually show you, right? Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to show you. So just go back to the app, and it's really nice, right? And you can use it for debugging. Alert. Using alerts to debug gets really painful after a while. So just go back to your app, and you don't have to, right? So you can look it up. So it's very nice, easy. So the inside of your function, if you say console.log, that whatever it is will come out to the console, the Chrome console. You can see it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, this is console.log and console.err, right? Two different colors. So those two you can you look up. Console.log, I think it's console.out. One of those things, right? Console.log and console.err. So yeah, those. Yeah, and also in JavaScript, in the JavaScript tab of Chrome developer, you go to the JS and click on the margin, and you see the blue dot. That's actually a breakpoint. And then when you run it, the web app will basically stop there. And then you can step through it, just like in VS Code.
Oh, yeah, that's really.
Yeah, you can step through your JavaScript. You can also, at any time, examine CSS. But I can tell you right now, it is a far more painful process. Well, it's kind of rewarding in a different way because you see some visual effects. But it's a far more, let's say, far less predictable process than with debugging C++, right? Or Java. Because when you're debugging C++, this is a higher level language, you know exactly what you're expecting. And if it doesn't go right, you have a very good intuition about why things don't go right. I think in web apps, it's slightly harder. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it all came together so fast, or is still maturing. There's like everything that goes wrong. There is like too many ways in which it can go wrong. I think that's the reason. I think when the field is young, there are many different ways in which things can go wrong. Just like people, right? When we're young, we have like many different ways in which we can go down the wrong way, and then we can totally screw ourselves up. Right? And as we get older, we learn. The survivors learn. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't go down that path. I could have gotten totally screwed, right? I wouldn't be here today, or I wouldn't be in such a good position, or whatever it is, right? So I think when a language is young, or a paradigm is run young, or a science, or even a civilization, right? Anything, right? When it's young, there's lots of ways in which it can go wrong, and people are always trying all these different ways. And I think that's a way to do too, right? So try it all these different ways. But then there is also a feeling of insecurity that goes with it, because there are so many different ways that you can go wrong in JavaScript or HTML, CSS, compared to C++. It's like an old language, right? It's an old language. Because you can go wrong in so many different ways, you feel a lot less secure, right? You're less hopeful, right? Yeah, that's the thing, right? When I'm programming in C++, I'm a lot more hopeful, right? I'm hopeful that what I'm going to do will work, but I'm also not as rewarded by the fact that what I did actually worked, right? I don't feel so over the moon or elated or jumping with joy when something I do in C++ actually works, because I know it's going to work, right? Or I have a much higher level of confidence it's going to work. This JavaScript, or HTML, when I do something and it works the first time, I can't believe it, right? Oh my gosh, I'm just like totally over the moon. And this is because there's so many different ways it can go wrong, and that it worked. I feel so lucky. Right? So with JavaScript, because it is so young as a field, you don't have the same level of things looking out for you. Even though, Chrome and all these people, all these, IDEs and all these things, all these frameworks, right? They're all built to rein you in and bring the C++ level of consistency to JavaScript. But even then, I think, there's too many things, right? So things can be wrong in CSS or in HTML or in JavaScript, or the logic here, or maybe CSS, the formatting. I don't know, so many different things, right? Which I think is a bit of a pain sometimes. Even iOS is, they've got it together, right? iOS, there's only one way you can define the UI, and then you wire it up, and it's also so rigid in a way. I think rigidity helps with iOS, for example, right? I think rigidity helps in a way because rigidity says you can't change these things, right? Or if you change these things, you're basically just wasting your time, right? You got to be thinking here, not here, right? So these are going to be fixed. You can't do it like a zillion different ways, right? Think about the zillion different ways in which you can do your stuff, right? Otherwise, people are just going to be fiddling with this, right? So I think Apple got it right, saying this is the way you do it, man. Right? Just go ahead and do it, right? And I think then that forces you to do your stuff really good. Maybe, I don't know. All right. Anyway, so that's all I had to say. I don't know if I didn't give you guys a chance to talk. Well, this is your chance, right? So if take.
I finally got my editor set up. So real quick, so I noticed that there's the like what would you recommend as like just a good way of getting it in a project set up?
Share your screen, Daniel. Share your screen.
I just want to just check real quick. So I'm just gonna share my screen. So like I just finished setting up Firefox's developer builds, which has a bunch of this, and then my editor over here. Like, is this a good stuff? Like is there a good way?
That looks like a nice setup.
Automatically, right? Like up. So what I want to do is, and I update the file on the left. I want the right.
Automatically do it. Do you want to set a timer or something in JavaScript to automatically reload every time? I don't know. Because sometimes I find that I have syntax errors. Intermediate saves of states. As I say, stages are saved, and then the web page will throw up some error. I find it more convenient myself. Your setup is nice. Even if it's Alt Tab, right? If I hit Alt Tab to the other window and then Command R or Control R, Alt Tab, Control R, that can be relegated to your subconscious, rather than have the right-hand side automatically reload every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm thinking about just setting it up so it refreshes when the file updates.
Yeah, but that means you can't save intermediate builds, or not builds, intermediate stages of your program.
Yeah, and I think I'll just find some JavaScript.
You'll find a way that works.
Figure it out.
Yeah. It's not worth wasting your time with me on this.
Okay.
All right. So that looks good. I think your setup looks good too, Daniel. But if I understand what you said before correctly, you wanted to do something different, right? You wanted to use a framework or React or something like that.
I was going to try to use the functional language Elm, but then I realized I don't know enough about how Elm works, and I always had a fight with them. Like, I can do Haskell fine, it's just Elm that really is annoying to get set up.
Well, yeah, if you want, you can just do it HTML, CSS like me and Linda, and later on you can do a version.
AB solve it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably going to use a CSS framework just because I know how to. And
all right. Okay, cool. All right. So obviously there's a lot that you guys can share, and maybe Sibe also, she may join us later this week, maybe, I don't know. And she may have some questions. But so you guys can bounce ideas around and try and get this game. And let's see, we can have some fun. If you have something really cool out there, I'll join your experiment. Maybe I'll sponsor a small ad campaign on Instagram for you, right? We'll see how many hits we get. We'll measure things on the server side. Maybe even do some A/B testing, right? Maybe you say 10% of the population gets, Mako and all the Quora, the Avatar family, and and then we can do some A/B testing. We can have some fun, right, over the holidays.
Okay.
All right.
Enable line numbers in my editor. I also like thing I like most about just having Vim is that just runs in a terminal.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. No, that's nice. Okay. Nice. All right. Thank you. Do you have any other questions for me, or do you want to basically take it away from here at this point and then?
I'm probably just gonna experiment around and try and get some basics set up, like probably CSS framework, or try and see if I want to even try and use a normal a full thing.
For now, I would really suggest, I just recommend that if you haven't programmed in all these in HTML and JS and CSS, I would recommend highly that you just do it everything native. Everything native.
Screwed around with CSS a bit. I just find it a bit.
Everything native for now, right? Because this project is really, really simple and small. And then the frameworks should be used as and when you find motivation for them, right? That's what I told my son, and he never used any frameworks to develop something really cool. And not because of what I said, obviously, but I think that's what he found. So we have two data points.
Like I just
that-
usually stick to something
the,
like a tiny
framework,
like
yeah. So I think you learning a framework in order to use it is always a bad idea. Just like learning a language in order to use the language is a bad idea. And I said that in C++ in the 2A class, saying don't learn C++ for learning C++, right? So in order to use C++, no, you should learn C++ in order to do something using C++, right? So the doing something is the important part. So once you find what you want to do, then you may find a framework that lets you do it, right? Then this framework is beholden to you. Right? So you say, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to use that framework to do it for me. That's the right perspective. To look at a framework, then you get the most out of it, right? And then otherwise, you say, that framework is the holy grail. I got to learn that, and I got to do as the framework says. Then you're totally screwed, right? Because then you can
I just like having like a tiny one like Wing CSS, which is like
fine.
basically
Small,
just a bunch of utility
small one's
classes
fine.
that I didn't mess with. Onto utility classes, so I don't have to spend 10
Yeah, fine. Go ahead and do it. I think if you know already how to do it, that's fine. I'm saying that if you don't know how to do it, if this is your first project, don't use any frameworks, right? So once you get CSS, grow out of CSS. Well, once you grow out of CSS, you can use a framework. But you may have already grown out of CSS. Then you can use a framework. But I usually discourage people from using a library until they have grown to use the library. You may have already, so that's fine. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. I got to go. This is fantastic. So thank you so much. And we will kind of touch base again when you have time and when you have something to talk about. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you guys later. All right, bye.
Bye.